And this video is on, we'll do multiplying and dividing fractions. Okay, multiplying and dividing algebraic fractions. I'll just couldn't be bothered. Algebraic fractions. Okay, so let's start with multiplying. Just remember when we've got two fractions, so let's say we've got 3/5 times by half or something. Multiplying fractions is really easy. You times the top lines together, so 3 times 1 over the bottom line 5 times 2. So they're really easy, which is 3/10. Okay, so just remember that when you're doing multiplying. So let's just jump straight into an example of multiplying two fractions. Let's go x squared over 9 times by, let's say 3 over x, something like that. Okay. Now, there's sort of two ways to go about it. You can either do your multiplication straight away, or you can do a bit of cancelling. Okay. And so just remember that anything that's on the top line of a fraction and a factor that's on the top line of the fraction that's also on the bottom line of the fraction can be cancelled out, okay? As long as it's a factor, something that's multiplied by each other. So what we can do is we can sort of write this as, I'll do it the long way, x times 3 over, let's just do 3 times x just to demonstrate what happens. Okay, and so what happens is that anything that's on the top line, there's a 3 cancels there, a 3 cancels there, an x cancels there, and an x cancels there, and you're left with x on the top line and 3 on the bottom line. Okay, so that would be sort of an expanded way to use the expanded form to do that. But the quicker way to do it is sort of like here, go 3 and 9. If I divide that by 3, I'll be left with that. If I divide that by 3, I'll have 1. And then we've got an x squared and an x. If I get rid of one of those x's there and I get rid of that, we're left with that. What are we left with? X on the top line, 3 on the bottom line, x over 3. Okay, so that's sort of different ways that you can be cancelling out. Okay, I'll just do a couple more examples, but multiplying fractions is not overly strenuous. So another example, let's go 2x plus 1 over 2x plus 6 times x plus 3 over, it doesn't really matter, does it, over 12. Something like that. Let's do this. Firstly, look for common factors that you can cancel out. At this stage, there's nothing, is there? There's sort of no common factors here that can be cancelled out. Or is there? Okay, if actually we factorise this, we can actually cancel that out. So let's just have a look at this. That would be equal to 2x plus 1 over, if I take a factor of 2 out of there, I'll get 2 bracket x plus 3. And we've got this x plus 3 up there. So I'll just write that, x plus 3, and put a bracket there just so that it looks more like something you can cancel. So here we go, we've got a factor of x plus 3 there, we've got a factor of x plus 3 there, and so now we can quickly do the answer. 2x plus 1 times 1 is just 2x plus 1 on the top line, and on the bottom line 2 times 12 is 24, and there's your answer. So just looking at this, if you can recognise that there was a common factor there, it's actually a lot quicker. What would it look like if you didn't recognise that? Well, you'd need to do times the top lines together, so 2x plus 1 times x plus 3, and then you'd need to multiply the bottom line, so 12 times 2x plus 6. And so then you'd need to go, expand it 2x squared plus 3x plus x plus 3, etc. Did I do that right? So that should be a 6. Anyway, you have to expand it all out. 24x plus 6 times 12 is 72. And it's just it's a pain. So if you can see that you can cancel out quickly up here, that'll save you lots of time. Okay, so that's multiplying. Let's do some dividing of fractions. Okay, and just to remind you, so 2/7 divided by 3/5. If you remind yourself how you do this, when you're dividing fractions, that'll be 2/7. We change the divide into a times, and then we flip the second fraction. It has to be the second fraction, so that'll be 5 over 3. Once you got it like that, times the top lines, times the bottom lines, and that's your answer, 10/21. Okay, so that's just a little aside up here. Let's just have a look at an example. Okay, so 4x squared over 2xy divided by let's just have 8x over 10y. Okay, let's just do this one here. So first things first, let's flip that divide into a times. So I've got 4x squared over 2xy times, and this second fraction gets flipped upside down, so 10y over 8x. Now let's look for things we can cancel. Firstly, well, we've got an x squared on the top line, we've got an x down there, so that squared can go and that x will go. Alright, we've also got this x still on the top line and an x on the bottom line, so that will cancel out as well. We've got this y on the bottom line and this y on the top line, so they can cancel out as well. And then we've got this 4 on the top line and 2 on the bottom line. Well, if we divide them both by 2, we're left with 2 on the top line and 1 on the bottom line, or you can just not bother writing that at all. Okay, so what is that equal to? On the top line, 2 times 10, 20, over 1 times 8, which is 8. And we could have simplified this as well. We could divide that by 2, but we can do that now as well. Divide by 2 equals 10 over 4, and divide by 2 again equals 5 over 2. And that is your answer. Okay, so dividing fractions, flip them and change it into a multiply. Look for things you can cancel, and then just simplify as you go along. One more example. Let's just do a beast. X plus 1, 2x minus 1 over x minus 17 divided by 3x minus 51 x plus 1 over I'll do it down here as well, 2x minus 34. Let's do this one here. Okay, excellent. Let's change the divide into a times. That's your first step all the time. So rewrite it, x plus 1, 2x minus 1 over x minus 17 times. Let's flip this upside down. I'll write the top on the bottom, so 3x minus 51 and x plus 1. Now, just looking at this again, I can see that there's a common factor here, 2x minus 34. In fact, there's one up here as well. It's the same one. That's weird. Hang on, just let me undo that. I've just seen that there's a common factor. 3x minus 51 has got a common factor of 3 in that. So I'm just going to take that out in this go. So take 3, x minus 17. Okay, and we've got an x minus 17 over here. So we've got this x minus 17, so that's 3x minus 51 times by x plus 1. Okay, and over here we've also got, if you take 2 out of there, you've got x minus 17. Okay, so you've got these x minus 17s flying all around the place. So let's just have a look at what can be cancelled. What's on the top line and on the bottom line? We've got this x plus 1 factor there and an x plus 1 factor there. We've got an x minus 17 there and an x minus 17 there, and there's nothing else that can be cancelled. What are we left with? We're left with 2x minus 1 times 2, which let's just times that out. That's 4x minus 2 on the top line. On the bottom line, we've got x minus 17 times 3. And just in general, keep the bottom line of a fraction sort of in factorised form. Don't bother expanding it. Expand the top line. Keep factorised the bottom line. Okay. So just a general rule of thumb. Keep factorised the bottom line. Expand the top line for your final answer. And that's all about multiplying and dividing fractions. Hope you have lots of fun with those. I know I always do.